Let's talk about the image, because, like I said, for me, hearing the band on the radio and then saying I want to check this out, and then seeing the album cover, because like you mentioned, being a 19-year-old kid, I didn't know who the sons of Ricky Nelson were. So to me, I just heard this music and saw this image of these two guys with the super long blonde hair and like the cool clothes, and I mean, it was just such a great look at the time. Was the image before the record, or was the image something that you were working on, told to do? That's the way you guys looked walking down the street normally? How did that go?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, we started working on the music first. The music was first. Mm-hmm. We started doing our writing. But I think the image really came after John Kalodner sent Matthew and I over to London to write with a guy named Russ Ballard. And Russ was in a band called Argent.
Yep.
For the listeners out there, great music out of that big song, Hold Your Head Up. Legendary stuff. Mm-hmm. And Rod Argent was the Hammond B3 player in the Animals and
Zombies.
Zombies. You're right, Zombies. Not the Animals. It was going over there and writing with him in England.
Wow.
The sensibility over there with pop music is very different because the image is really important to them. Matt and I were at an industry party with our co-writer. And Russ introduced us to the top stylist in London. And Matt and I at that point had just come from working with Jack Ponte in New Jersey, and we were a hodgepodge of styles and image. And this lady, I'll never forget the conversation. She looked at me and Matt and went, "So what are you two going for?" Like, what do you mean? She goes, "Well, you just got all this mishmash of all these other people's styles, and it looks so confused." She goes, "Boys, do yourself a favor. Really think about what it is you're going for before you present yourself, because you'll only be able to present yourself one time to the world for the first time." And that's really kind of like what started the conversation. And, we were students of Joseph Campbell, and Joseph Campbell wrote some epic works, one called The Hero's Journey that Spielberg and company kind of pulled from for all the Star Wars things. Basically it's an allegory that talks about the hero's journey and all this stuff. And that's when the idea for calling the record After the Rain, for putting the image together to kind of portray that whole hero's journey thing really came from, was that one conversation with that stylist in London. Mm-hmm. And we started talking about it. Matt and I went down to Western Costume in Hollywood, and we went through the archives and we did some research, and we found that like any of those eras that we were gravitating towards, we just basically were looking through all the binders and stuff. We really liked that whole, Three Musketeer, swashbuckling kind of thing. That's why, the image of the leggings and the jackets, and that's where all that stuff came from. It had nothing to do with a record company idea. They had nothing to do with that. I have a feeling they probably, in a very real sense, would have preferred we had not done that. Mm-hmm. Because to be honest with you, Chris, I mean, Geffen wasn't really, as a company, they didn't really back our band. The record company at the time was really into a band called Little Caesar, and that was their priority band. With every label,
wow,
with every label, you're going to get, they're going to have a financial meeting once a quarter. They're going to go, okay, we're going to put all of our radio favors and money into this band, and they basically waved their magic wand at a particular band. Nelson was never that band.